So you can't help but wonder what's next for the former president, who is seeking a second term still.
James Long, professor of political science at the University of Washington, and Craig Green, professor of law at Temple University, join us live. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us. Craig, I'll start with you. What is next for Mr. Trump in court? We know his next court appearance is not until December. A lot of his legal team saying that they see an opening here to really challenge these charges. Do you think realistically this is ever going to go to a jury?
It's very hard to know without seeing the evidence, and there are some undecided legal questions in the case. But this calendar question is the most important one, since Republican voters will already be very into the caucus and primary season by December. That's now one of the earliest times that this case could be dismissed. So if it went to trial, it could be, of course, very much closer to the 2024 election. But even now, the legal calendar and the political calendar are kind of on a collision course.
And James, we've heard that if every single one of these counts, if he was found guilty, it could lead up to more than 100 years in jail. Yet there are so many analysts who say there's no way he's ever going to face prison time. What is your thought about that and how his legal team will go about fighting this case?
I think before yesterday, no one ever thought a president or former president would be criminally charged, and then arraigned and arrested. So I think, this is all precedent setting. Donald Trump himself set a lot of precedents as president. I think it's too soon to tell. I agree with Craig that the legal and the political calendars are going to bump up against each other. And hopefully what that means is that will not necessarily undermine the legal process itself and the rule of law. But of course, this is completely unprecedented, and I think it's too soon to tell. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Donald Trump could end up serving jail time. And of course, we have to put the context of this specific indictment in the context of potential future indictments coming out of the state of Georgia and the Department of Justice.
There's been no gag order issued yet in the case, but a warning from the judge not to incite violence. Craig, what do you think about how he will handle this going forward in terms of talking about the case? He's already really taken aim at the DA and the judge.
Yeah, I think there are 2 points here. One is on this narrow point of gag orders. It's unusual, and I think the judge is trying to find a balance. It's usual not to silence the parties or this kind of a thing. Of course, Donald Trump has already said extraordinary things about the judge and his family, and actually has called the district attorney an animal. And then, of course, the very last night, he gave another rally and speech. But the main thing I want to emphasize is there are a lot of things about this case that are extraordinary, the politics, the political significance, and so forth. But the judge and the legal system are trying as best they can to rely on standard mechanics of criminal procedure. So they don't want to impose a gag order for Trump and the DA that wouldn't be applicable to other white-collar defendants. And the indictment is kind of normal with a regular grand jury with ordinary citizens, and the schedule is relatively normal. There are a lot of things that are going to be extraordinary, but for all of us, it's really important to recognize the things that the legal system is trying to keep standard and the same.
So far, what we're hearing from the general public about these criminal charges is that it's helping his favorability. We've run many polls here at Fox 26. Our viewers seem to say that that doesn't affect the way they feel, and we're seeing that across the country. So do you feel that, James, this could actually boost his chances of securing that GOP nomination?
Well, on the one hand, it's hard to imagine that every American citizen doesn't already have their opinion of Donald Trump pretty much solidified. He's been in political life now for 8 years. He was president for 4 years, and I think people either sort of love him or hate him. I think the real question going forward is, I think this is helping him to shore up his base. It apparently helped him raise some small amount of money over the weekend. I don't think Democrats are going to change their mind about Donald Trump. I don't think the MAGA crowd is going to change their mind. I think what's really interesting to think about is over the next year, as this process plays out, by the time that Republicans start voting in the primaries early 2024, where are the moderate Republicans going to go, the never Trumpers, and those who sort of want to shop elsewhere? And is there a candidate that they can all line up behind?
And 2 others have already announced they are challenging. We're waiting to hear more. Thank you so much, Craig Green and James Long, for your time this morning.
Thank you.
It is time to tell 26. Would the outcome of the case affect whether or not you will vote for Donald Trump? Right now, the vast majority of you say, I've already decided. You can vote on our website, fox26houston.com, or by downloading our free app.